Hi, and welcome to this course on energy efficiency. It's targeted towards people who want to get started with energy efficiency within their organization or even their household. This course will give you an idea of what standards require, some good practices that exist, and also some practical guidance on how to go about this. My plan is also to keep adding on to this course based on questions and requests received. So if you're wondering about anything in the course or have specific questions or topics that you think should be covered, please do let me know. Now let's get started. First of all, why should we bother? Why is energy efficiency important? Well, I already touched briefly on global warming, which the polar bear on the picture is very concerned about, and as should the rest of us be. And we'll get back to a little bit more detail on this later. Even if you're a climate skeptic yourself, you may need to be certified within energy management, as you may have customers or other stakeholders that simply require it. Some companies, recent laws may require you to demonstrate that you're making an effort in this area. Such countries include Japan, South Korea, Australia, US, and all of the EU states, and probably many more countries that I don't know about. So whether you want to or not, there is a very real chance that you may have to focus a bit on energy efficiency, sooner or later in any case. And if that is the case, I would recommend being proactive, as your dialogue with local authorities will be much more pleasant if you can show that you're already making an effort in this area. Last but not least, there is a potential to save money and improve your bottom line by doing things smarter and using less energy. So let's take a closer look at these topics, starting with climate change. This graph shows development of global greenhouse gas emissions since 1990. As you can see, there's been a steady increase over the years. If we continue along this path, we will end up with emissions in the blue area at the top of the graph, with resulting increase in temperature. In the Paris Agreement, signed in 2015, many countries agreed to set a national goal for controlling their emissions. These are called Intended Nationally Determined Contributions, or INDCs for short. If these are kept, then we will end up somewhere in the pink area, just below the blue area in the graph. But as you can see from the graph, it's clearly not enough if we are to limit the average temperature increase to 2 degrees Celsius. There's a substantial gap in the emissions that remains to be addressed. Improving energy efficiency at our work and in our daily life is one of the ways available to us to address this gap. So if you believe global warming is caused by humanity, this is a very good reason to get started on improving energy efficiency. Now, this next graph shows targets set by some individual countries. To achieve these targets, the countries in question have implemented laws on energy efficiency. All countries with green numbers on the right-hand side, that is Japan, Canada, South Korea, US, and EU, they have some sort of laws regarding energy efficiency. I'm sure many more countries can be added to this list as well, so whether you knew about it or not, chances are that your authorities do require you to do something about your energy efficiency. So regardless where you're located, I would encourage you to look up what you're required to do by law. It will be much easier to get some management attention, not to mention a budget, if there is a law coming or a law in place already that you're not in compliance with. Next, we have the standards on energy management, ISO 50001. This standard has been around since 2011. It describes processes to measure and improve use of energy within an organization. Being certified according to this standard could be a practical way to demonstrate commitment to energy efficiency, which authorities and regulating bodies to an increasing extent require. If you have an authority or any other stakeholder questioning your actions on this issue, being able to show an ISO certificate will certainly give you a lot of credibility in this area. Finally, let's take a look at the numbers. This graph comes from an analysis carried out by Bain & Company, a famous consulting firm. Under the assumption that your direct energy costs are about 5% of your total costs, and that you can achieve somewhere in the neighborhood of 20% energy savings, then if one adds on tax effects, non-energy synergies, that according to experience companies tend to achieve in the process, well, then we end up saving about 2% of total costs, which means you get an extra 2% profit margin. For most managers, these numbers should grab some attention and make energy efficiency more interesting, because everybody's interested in the bottom line after all. If you now, after having seen these slides, think that energy efficiency sounds interesting and would like to get started on doing something about it, then this course is for you. Throughout the course, we will go through all topics needed to carry out an energy review and get started on your journey to ever improving energy efficiency. During the course, we'll take a look at how to determine the scope of the energy review and why this is important, how to gather and interpret energy consumption data, suitable measurements that can be done and why, how to estimate energy consumption if there is a lack of data, typical energy consuming equipment and activities such as lighting, ventilation, heating, pneumatics, and transportation. Then how to do a life cycle cost analysis of identified improvement actions. Finally, energy management systems, energy performance indicators, and continuous improvement is something that we'll look at. And finally, we'll look at what an energy review report should look like. I hope you'll find this interesting and will join the course.